I've been very fascinated with the phenomenon of hypnosis, and I don't really understand why we have this capability and how it fits in with the normal scheme of things. But it seems that it has some potential for helping to implement the laws of attraction, deliberate creation, and allowing. Do you see this as a way that people can perhaps get past some of the blocks that we throw in our way?
Well, we're not very excited about hypnosis as that tool compared to conscious awareness of one's vibrational gap and one's deliberate turning toward what one is wanted. Hypnosis is like a very small flea on the back of a very big dog in comparison to all of that. But let's talk about why hypnosis works, because it clearly does. What is it and why does it work? So here you are, a being who has at your core very clear, pure, positive energy and understanding of who you are, worthiness and positive expectation of things to turn out well, broader perspective, so to speak. And then you have the personality that you've lived in this physical body, that you have created as a result of your exposure to life experience. So you have some expectation of things going well and some expectation of things not going well. In other words, there's quite a mix of vibration going on within you. So if you come to us and we get a whiff of who you are and what you want, and we see this clear view of your vibrational escrow, then we would just talk to you in ways that would get you turning toward it. In other words, we would help you diffuse your contradictory vibration and embrace your aligning vibration, and we could coach you into alignment with who you are and what you want in a reasonable amount of time. But in the process of doing that, you would, without knowing it at first, and eventually it would become apparent, you're going to stop believing some things that you've been believing while you start believing some things that are more in harmony with what you want. In other words, faith is belief in laws or processes without actual belief that I can do it necessarily. What we would be teaching you is alignment of thought energy. So, and if we could teach you to think more about what you want and less about what you don't want, if we could get you to pay attention to the way you feel and encourage you so that you were doing it on a daily basis, thinking more and more good feeling thoughts, all of your dreams would begin to come true, and people who are watching you would notice an astonishing difference in the way your life is playing out. But let's say that we've decided to take another approach. Let's say that you are sitting before us and you have talked to us. We are your hypnosis therapist, and you have talked to us enough that we know what your goals are, and we can tell by the words you speak of the insecurities that you feel. So it's apparent to us that what you want and how you feel are very different. So as your therapist, we would, because we have trained our mind, we would see you as you want to be. And it's easy for us to do because we've practiced doing it. We would focus so completely upon your ability to do something that we would dominate the vibration around you, sort of like a healer does. Is exactly the process that Jesus applied. And then we would apply techniques which you already believe in, where we would encourage you to quiet your mind. In other words, the hypnosis process is not so different from putting you into a meditation where you deactivate the thoughts that are active in your current mind. And so now you've deactivated what's hindering you, while our focus as your hypnosis therapist is activating what does matter, what you do want. And now in your trance-like state, you are in alignment with your desires, and as long as you remain in that state, you are so in alignment that you could accomplish anything that we believe that you can accomplish, because we are dominating your mind right here and now. When you wake up, how long that effect will last is a variable. And so all we're saying is, it's fine. We just want you, while you're fully awake, to train yourself into alignment rather than while you're asleep having someone else train you into alignment, because it's so much more effective for you to consciously train yourself into vibrational alignment with who you are. But we understand why it works, don't you?
Yes.
This is the area that I've had a little bit of niggle with now. I've found a lot of people aren't even aware of that event in their childhood, and they're not aware that it's holding them back in some way. So one of the many processes that I've used to great effect is to effectively take them back as an adult to that childhood event and unhook them. And another discussion that I had...
Do you believe that if they are unaware of it, that they are hooked, and therefore they need to be unhooked? Are you taking them back and hooking them before you unhook them? And then giving them reason to believe that that's what was holding them back, and so now they feel freer for a while?
In a sense, I think I might be hooking them up with their true self. It's a hookup that way. I've talked to these people long after we've had our session.
That's the most important thing. How long after?
Sometimes years.
Good.
And they've just never looked back since then. So it's like the elastic band has been released and they're propelling into their vortex.
The thing that you may have heard us say in response to questions about hypnosis, this is the reason for clarification around it. We want, and you do too, we want people to reach for and find their alignment and be guided from the perspective of their inner being. That way they hook up with their intentions that they had coming in and the intentions that they've discovered along their way, because their vortex is their true path. It is their true desire, it is their true nature, and it is the place from which they will find their greatest satisfaction. And so we also understand, and you do too, the power of influence. So someone who has the ability, and there are a lot of teachers like that, who have the ability to tune in to their vortex and tune in to their intentions, who can see more clearly than they can see themselves, and who in that alignment of well-being then offer the guidance that takes them there. That can only be a good thing. But hypnosis in and of itself, we cannot say is always a good thing, because everyone who has the ability to get you to quiet your own mind and be under the influence is not necessarily in sync with who you really are and what you really want. And so often when we're speaking to people who are not deep enough into the understanding of what true alignment feels like, then it's just not something that we are eagerly encouraging people to go off and do.
Okay. When I'm working with people, for that moment that I'm with them, I'm in love with them on a deep level. And that's when I find I get a really powerful...
Well, in that
kick in
case,
the
you
guts.
are in complete alignment with your inner being, which means there's a very high likelihood that you're in alignment with theirs. But still, we just want to ask you this question. In some ways, does it feel to you like you're doing the work for them?
Never.
Explain that to us a little bit, because that's the sticking point.
One of the sort of metaphors, if you like, that I use is that people have locked themselves up in some way, and we find their key ring and we go through the keys until they find the key to their door and unlock the door themselves. It's not as if I'm handing them the keys, I just guide them in meditation effectively, that they get in touch
And
to
so
find
the
their own
premise
key.
that you're beginning with is that there's a locked door that needs to be unlocked. And is there really? Is there a locked door between anyone and their inner being? That's our question to you. Did you have to unlock a door to get to where their inner being is? Did you have to unlock a door for yourself? Or did you just vibrationally get there?
I vibrationally get there.
And so can you not teach them that they could too? Do you have to tell them that there's a door that they have to unlock? There isn't a door that they have to unlock.
Yeah, there is no door. It's all just in the head.
Perception.
Anyway. Perception. It's whatever. in a sense, sometimes I go into trance with them, and it's what I pick up from them that I explain. It could be a walk in a deep, dark forest and they find the wise person sitting behind them on a log. There's all sorts of things that just pop up, and I say it. Sometimes it doesn't seem to gel, so there's a thing that pops up. So I don't sort of...
Do you find everyone equally receptive to what you offer?
Not everyone has the same story, if that's what you're asking. Is
Can you find a locked door for everyone?
it's not always doors locked. Sometimes it's just, it might be a walk down into the garden and walking through an open gate that they didn't know was there. And it's still just perceptions.
Yeah.
So I'm not sure I'm getting where you're coming from.
We are just knowing and wanting you to say it out loud. That everyone is different in their relationship with their inner being, and you find different people in different places, and so the same approach doesn't work with every single person. It's an intuitive thing that you're doing, and you can't teach that intuitiveness to everyone on the spot, but you can use your intuitiveness to guide them to something that they want. And so our question is, when you use your intuitiveness to guide them to something that they want, is it something that sticks with them, or is it something that their life will then show to them in other ways? We're not taking any issue with what you're doing, except in this one slight way. Does it make you all want to sit with him so that he can unlock your doors? Well, that's good, in the sense, because in lots of places, there would be a, yes, take me to my locked doors.
Non-Abraham places, yeah.
And we want this to be an inside job. We don't want them to need to come through us or through you to find their own inner being. And so now what?
Just in talking with you now and also with the fellow hamsters about this, I felt a little bit held back on this just because of those previous recordings. With this discussion now, I don't feel at all held back.
That's important, because we have no intention whatsoever of holding you back. The only thing that we're wanting to add to this conversation, and you already know it, is the intuitive nature of your being. In other words, that's what teachers and uplifters who are really effective have to offer. Everyone has this vibrational reality, and almost no one knows that they do. And so when you know it and are able to tune to it and are able to say things that then they feel resonance with, that causes them to accept it, that can only and always be a really good thing.
Yeah, and it is.
Yeah.
And that enlightens me too.
Yeah.